righty, guys. What's going on? This is how I talk. It's the star of the show, Chris Jones.
And this is the star of the show, Tim. Hey, look at me again. I'm coming to your place all the way from outer space again today. There may be some things I say that you don't like, but it's okay and it's all right because we're gonna still be
Yeah.
friends tonight.
Come on, man. Come on.
Y'all, everybody's gonna know this. Everybody's gonna know this. We're gonna
They
be
already clicked
friends
off the
tonight.
show. It's too long, man. It's too long. We got to get into what we got to talk about. They want to know.
Oh, okay.
All right. So,
I'm
the
excited about this
conversation.
topic.
Yeah, we have these conversations every week, right, guys? So we've been talking about relationships, the dynamics of different relationships, and what it looks like. And today we wanted to talk about how much money should a man make if you were to date him coming from a woman's perspective. How much money should a man make in order to date him? Tim, go ahead and kick it off. What you think, man?
Well, I would say this: they need to make some money. That's for sure. Women will tell you, well, it doesn't matter. I would say a younger woman might tell you it doesn't matter how much a man makes, and a woman who's already maybe established in her career might say it doesn't matter how much a man makes. But I would say the average woman would probably take that in consideration that the man that she's with would have to make some type of income that would keep her in a position that she wants to be in. So it depends a lot on the position that the woman wants to be in. So if she is maybe complacent with the position she's in and doesn't want to rise up, I mean, there's different areas in which women prefer. Some prefer to say, I don't need money, and that's okay too. They would say, hey, I just rather have love. You only live off love so long. Love don't last very
So
long. At
long.
some point, at some point, you're gonna start to rub each other wrong, and then love gonna feel like it's a long song. But see,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is, I guess the dollar amount. I don't know if we can put an actual dollar amount, but sometimes women will put a dollar amount on it. They will tell you a man needs to make a certain amount of money, and they may put a dollar amount. And a lot of times I find that women are unrealistic about the dollar amount. So they may say, well, I'm not going to date a guy unless that makes $100,000. Well, you need to understand the number of guys making $100,000 are small. It's not a large number of those guys making $100,000. The average guy is not going to make $100,000. So if he makes $60,000, you're probably going, man, it seems like he makes a lot of money. And that may be a lot of money to a lot of women, a lot of guys. That may be a lot of dollars that they would use. And that could take them, that could take a guy a long way. If he made $6,000, that could take him a long way. If he's living by himself, that could take him pretty far. So when I say that, I would say it just depends on the woman, on how much a guy needs to make. A lot depends on them. A lot depends on where the woman is and where she wants to go in life. A lot depends on what's the man wanting to do. So there's a lot of variables in this text or in this context. So I really like it, but I want to hear what you got to say because I'm thinking you might be burning up over there with some things you got to say.
I'm heated. I'm ready to go. Well, the first thing, I like to come out guns blazing, just tell it like it is. Women, I think the modern woman, you said a lot of facts there. A lot of modern women, I would say, I got my own money. Why
Well,
I
wait
need
a
your
minute.
money?
Define a modern woman. Let's define that for our audience. So let's
I would
define
say,
what we would call a modern woman.
well, the script now is independent woman. I do my own thing. Why do I need a man? Men and women depending on
Okay,
certain
so
points are
basically,
equal.
we're not talking about specifically age, because a woman can be really any age and be considered a modern woman. We're talking about
True.
certain dynamics
Right.
that she would say
But
she possessed.
right. I would say typically a modern woman is going to be the younger generation. It's this new wave, typically, because the older woman, the 30, 40, probably 40, 50 are more traditional. But now the modern woman is going to go outside of those traditional roles. I agree to some of those things that they believe and some things I may not agree to, but that's hearsay. That's not the point of the conversation right today. But I would say that the modern woman believes that, hey, I have my own bag, I get my own money. You know, you'll see songs now that come out, independent, bad chick. I don't need no man. A man has to buy me Birkin bags if he wants to be with me. You see all types of stuff like that.
Oh
And I'm
yeah, oh
like,
yeah.
the wrong message. You got the wrong
Hey,
message because these young girls eat it up and think, no, baby, it don't work like that. Because the everyday man is not like that. That is not realistic. And if you
well,
want to go
let me
after that
throw
man,
let me throw this in the gravy. That's been going on a long time, brother. They had these
I'm
modern
sure.
women way back when.
Oh,
It's
I'm
just your
sure.
views tend to change over time. Your views of what you thought at one age can be different when you get to another age. Just time can change your views. But I mean, I'm agreeing with you. I'm agreeing with you.
I
I
think it's
think that's the kind of the
accelerated
definition.
more. Yeah, I think it's accelerated a lot more with movements and things like that on a higher pedestal. But I will say that women, again, they go back to they have their own money, they do their own thing, they're independent, right? What do I need a man for? I get my own money. But the truth is, when you're going to be with a man, you got to understand, just being honest with you, a woman's money is not your money as a man. It's y'all's money. It's your money. You ain't trying to share that money. Women can sit here and say, "Oh, I put in for the family." No, a woman's money, they use it for them. Don't get it twisted. A man's money is going to be used for the family. I believe that wholeheartedly. Your money is going to be used throughout the family. The woman's
Woo, you
money
got
is
that.
her play money. Have some fun with it. She ain't trying to use that money to go towards no purpose like that. No, 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 no.
That's
That's
right.
her
She's
money.
not.
So if you think that, you're out your mind as a man. So she's
Yeah.
gonna look for a guy that's one, a provider, well, I should say protection and security. Women typically like protection and security, right?
Yeah.
But as
Typically.
far as how much money, it's hard to say a dollar amount. But I will say I agree with you as far as women are unrealistic. Matter of fact, I was watching a podcast. Shout out Fresh and Fit podcast, a really good podcast, and they talked to women about this. Hey, how much money should a man make? They're based in Miami, so do your numbers based on what it costs to live in Miami. And you'll hear women say he needs to make 250,000, 150,000, 100,000. They're usually doing some high numbers. And you know what they always follow up with the guys? How many men make that? It's so funny the responses you see from women. Some of them say 30,000 or 30% of men make that. That's crazy. They'll say 15% of men make that. Well, the numbers are, I actually got them for you. It's only 10% of Americans that make 100,000 or more. That's
Now that's
male,
10% with men and male and female.
female, lesbians, bisexual, whatever you want to classify, transgender, whatever, all wrapped up in there. 10% of only Americans make that much money. So you gotta
Out of
think
that,
about the
out of
males.
that, it may only be 4% men or
Right,
5% men that really make that type of money.
right.
So so that's that one, they're unrealistic because probably
Yeah.
what the average. So do you know what the average person makes or the average guy?
So I
Did you
got
get
that
that?
too. Median income, 35, 40,000 for one person. What is it for
One
a
person.
household? 60 to 70,000. 60 to 70,000. That's for a household, for two people in a household.
Yeah,
So
and that's
do
true.
it
I would
more.
say that's about right.
Yeah.
Where I live, the median income I think is 80 to 90,000 for where we live, and
Mhm.
so depending on location, each location is different. But where we live, I think the medium is 80 to 90,000, and in that medium, that's a two-person household income. So the
Right.
average man, what most women would say, hey, I want to date a guy with a certain amount of money. They need to be realistic. That more than likely, they're going to fall in that 30 to 60 to $80,000 range max. They're going to fall in that range. The majority of guys. So they
So
need
you
to
know
say,
what?
hey, I need to
And,
date a guy that makes 50,000. I'll be happy.
and the funny thing is these girls are really young and they'll talk about they want to date a guy close to their age. And, they're in their 25s, early 30s, maybe early 20s, and they'll say this, right? One girl said a guy needed to make 200,000. Well, I got this stat for you. Only 6% of American households make 200,000 or more. 6% of households. This is not a
Household.
person. This is
Right.
not a male or a female. This is just
Right.
a household. So you got to realize how rare. That's an anomaly. You know what I mean? To find
Yeah.
that type of person, and then you got to make sure you can keep that person too. You
Yeah.
This man making this amount of money, you need to understand this person has options. Don't get it twisted. This man has options. And you got to figure
Yeah.
out what phase of life he is in. But these young girls will say they want to be with a guy that's making that amount of money. And they always ask, well, if you want to be with a guy that's making that amount of money, what age do you think he needs to be? He's going to be an old man. Like you, Tim, an old man.
Oh my goodness.
See, the problem, see, guys, you don't understand. The reason why you see he's in outer space and you can never see his lower body, he's in a wheelchair. You know, he's an old
Oh
man. He
my
move around in a wheelchair. He's an old man now. Y'all need to understand that.
I can take you. I've been taking you on the court for a long time. I can still take you down right today.
Yeah.
Man,
He ain't
Michael
that
Jordan
tall
learned
either,
from
guys. He's a short man too. Y'all getting fooled. See, I'm 6'3". He about
I'm
5'7"
6
on a
foot.
good day. He's a short man.
Oh, come on
But
now.
but I will say is that women, if they want to date somebody that does make that money, you're gonna have to date an older man, 40, 50 years old, to start making that type of money. Usually, you don't get that type of bag or type of income till later in life. As a man, you really start taking off. Like I'm gonna say 35 years old and on is when you really start making your income, and you really hit your catapult around your 50s, from what my understanding is.
Yeah. Well, I think around your 50s, you start catapulting even more. But around that time, you start really making wealth around 50, 50 and up, because you really don't have as much to spend anymore. You've usually purchased and bought or done most everything that you're going to do. And so usually at that time, you're really stacking at that time. I would say stacking more money than really anything else. But if they're in their 20s and they're talking about a guy that they want to date in their 20s, they're lucky if that guy makes $30,000. They're lucky he makes $50,000. He makes 60,000 or 80 in his 20s. He's an anomaly, and
Yeah.
that's not normal. And that would be the guy that they would probably want. But at that age, if they're around 30 and unmarried with that type of income, they got options. They
Yeah.
would have plenty of options to lay on the table. So women would have to understand they would have to be one of many options during that time. This is why you see those guys playing basketball, football. They're making the type of money that women want.
Right.
They're getting that type of dollars. They're getting that type of bag out of sports or something like that. So they're going, we love it, but at the same time, they have multiplicity of options. And so they find themselves being one of 10 women, one of 35
Right.
women, because these guys make so much money. They're in their 20s, maybe 30s, and they have so much excessive income that they've got to understand they're probably going to have a multiplicity of women. That's
Right.
just the way it is.
Now, what would you say to a woman that says how much she makes doesn't really matter? You got the opposite end of the spectrum, where some women say unrealistic, high, large sum of money, income yearly. And you got some other women, what does it matter? He's a good person, which is valid. He loves me, valid. But how much money
Valid.
he makes, what does that matter?
Yeah. They'll say that until the bills come due.
Until the
When
family
the
starts
bills,
happening.
yeah, till the family start having the bills start. I mean, you start getting 2 and 3 kids, and then you're gonna say, "Well, baby, it doesn't matter if you don't make any money." No, no, no. It's gonna matter because you're gonna need Pampers and diapers and milk and cribs and rolling strollers, and you're gonna be able to put these kids in sports and buy clothes. I mean,
Right.
you're gonna say, "Hey, I need some help," and you don't,
Right.
and you, I guess, women don't want to find themselves being the one trying to be the breadwinner and trying to support the individual. And a lot of women are willing to be the breadwinner and support the individual because they're just accepting of a guy who does not bring a lot to the table. And
Let
some
me say
women will
this.
be accepting of that.
You said a good point about being a breadwinner as a woman. Women nowadays, modern women will say, I love being the breadwinner. I'll tell you
Mhm.
this, my opinion, they love being the breadwinner now,
Now,
temporarily. But if I ever
right.
ask you, can you be the breadwinner for 30, 40 years? I don't think you want to do that. No, no, no. I don't
No,
think you want to be trying to pull in the bread to make the family function. I think you're going to look at that man and say, you need to get up and do something, sir. You need to do something. I would really like that.
well, then they're now taking the leadership role, and what I'm saying is not necessarily that making more money makes you the leader. I'm not saying that making the most money makes you the leader. I'm not saying that. but what
Right.
they are is stepping or trying to place themselves into the leadership role. And I think that's a dangerous place to put yourself, because you, like you said, to do it for longevity will wear a woman out, and to have kids and to help raise them. So that means the dynamic of the home has to definitely change from let's say a traditional, we would call it a traditional model, where the woman would really take care of the kids or nurture them more so than a man. And we may say, so, hey, now we got it where men take care of women. I mean, take care of the babies. The men stay home and take care of the baby. That's fine if it works for you. I'm not saying, hey, don't do it. I'm saying if it works for you, that's great. But what I'm saying is that's probably an anomaly. That's a rare thing. That's not a common thing. And when I'm talking to you, I'm talking from a perspective that here's what happens majority of people in society. It's very rare. It's not a big thing. I mean, there are stay-at-home dads, daycare dads, whatever you want to call them. There are those. But what I'm saying is those are rare. They're not something that happens on a frequent basis. It's just a rare thing. It's a
Yeah.
it's like a blue whale. You hardly
Yeah.
ever see them.
Exactly. That's the thing is people will bring up that just like a person. I don't need a degree. Look at Steve Jobs and Bill Gates. Look, the exception to the rule does not make the rule invalid. It makes the
Yeah.
rule still stick. Just there's few anomalies that you can pull from, and you have to understand: are you one of those anomalies that fit in the category? If you're not, you have to have realistic standards. And what people or women should also think about is the lifestyle they want to live. Really think about what that is as far as your lifestyle. Because if you have a certain type of lifestyle, the income is going to have to be generated in order to live that lifestyle. If you don't care about the type of lifestyle you will have or your children will have, then I mean, you can just date any old dude off the block. But if you think about, hey, I want to live in a home, I want my children to go to nice schools, I want to have possibly a nice car, I want to, create wealth for my family for next generations. Well, you got to find a man that represents and embodies that. Because sometimes women will go to a guy that makes a lot of income, but he makes it through selling drugs. You need to think long term, baby. That's what I would tell you. Because lifestyle wise, once you start having kids, you ain't gonna like that. One, because the drug dealer, guess what? Cash is in the house. Drug dealers carry cash. Somebody could come in that
Yeah.
house and do something to you and your kids. You ain't gonna like that. And then you're just gonna be around a lot of violence. You never know. It's just you got to understand what lifestyle do you want. Define that, and then I'll at least let you choose the right man that you should try to be around.
And I've never seen a wealthy drug dealer in his later years of life sitting back and say, "Well, this is how I made my money," and he's
Yeah.
able to share it with people. Typically, that's not the case. It may be an anomaly out there, but that's typically not the case. They find themselves on the run for the rest of their lives, and that you've seen that with these different ones,
Chapo.
Chapo, and
Yeah.
all these other drug dealers. They make
Or
a lot
dead.
of money. Yeah,
Or
or
dead.
dead. They
Yeah.
make a lot of money. They may have lived some life, but they end up being on the run all the time or dead, find themselves incarcerated. That path only leads to really destruction when it comes down to it. So I would tell women, hey, you need to decide, like you said, what kind of lifestyle do I want? What do I want that lifestyle to look like? And so I need to get with an individual. Am I going to work? Do I really want to work? Am I wanting to work now? And then am I wanting to work later? Am I wanting to be home with the kids, or do I want some flexibility there? And if you don't want any flexibility, then you would say, hey, this guy's not going to allow me to have any flexibility. In other words, I got to keep my hand to the plow working, and I don't have an option to do part time, maybe. I don't have an option to take a job that's making less money. Maybe I could take a job that allows me to work while the kids are in school. And then after school, I'm there with them. I'm there before they go to school. So there's you want to, in a relationship, I think this guy, when you're looking at how much money is enough, you say, how do I want to live? Maybe that's the question women should ask themselves. How do I want to live? And once they
Right.
answer that question, then they say, okay, now I know what it is I'm looking for. Now I
Right.
know what I need to help me, or I to help them, so that we then would have the lifestyle that I myself envision.
And,
Because you're not going to want to keep working. You're
yeah.
just not. You're just
And,
not. I
and
mean,
be
when I say that,
realistic.
women are not. No.
Yeah, be realistic with the lifestyle. A lot of women, I would say, not a lot. I mean, some you could say depends. I think majority of men and women are just financially illiterate in general. So they
In
don't
general.
understand really what does the lifestyle encompass. When you think of 100,000, what does that really mean if you break it down? I don't think a lot of people understand what that actually means. Is 100,000 really that much? Depends where you live, right? But you said something interesting about options. I think it's important too that when you do have that option as a lady, there's nothing wrong with it. You know, when you tell a woman, hey, you could be a stay-at-home mom, as soon as they hear that, sometimes they get triggered. I would say the modern woman, sometimes, some ladies, some are okay with it, but there are some ladies, why do I want to be a stay-at-home mom? Why can't I go out there and work? Hey, by all means, please go out there and work if you would like. I'm not gonna stop you. But if I give you the option of being able to stay at home once when you have children, you're gonna love me 10 times more than I say you gotta work. You have
Oh yeah.
options, and that
Yeah.
helps a lot. It's just like a
Yeah.
person that lives financially free. You have the option to do what you want with your life instead of saying a slave to the job you have to work till you're 80 years old. It's a different type of lifestyle. It's more freeing too.
Yeah, it's more freeing, and I think women in the long run will love that option because that means they're not so they feel. I guess they would be more secure, and
Right.
when they find themselves more secure, I think that they would feel, hey, I operate, and life is better for me. Because if you say you have the option to stay home with kids, or you have the option to take a job making less money, not being so stressful, it's hey, what do you want? You being women, what do you want in your lifestyle? Do you want a lifestyle that says, hey, I have to work? I have to go pick up the kids. I have to be at work. I have to be stressed with this job to make a certain amount of money to maintain this lifestyle I want. Well, if you have one individual, this man that's making that type of money by himself, then that helps to alleviate the pressure off you. And then you can be free, like you said, have freedom to now, hey, you know what? I'll spend my time focused on the kids. You know what? I might even start cooking meals for my husband. Who knows? It might be some wild
Woo!
stuff going on because all of a sudden now you got this freedom that says now I'm able to now do things that I couldn't do before. You know, and having that freedom is a great thing. And you as you get older, you'll find as women develop, grow older, they'll find, hey, I do like spending time with my kids. I do like raising my kids. They might say now, I want to work. And before they have kids, they might want to work. Hey, I want to be this whatever woman, this modern. I want to do all of that. The moment they have a child and they become attached to that child, all of a sudden the
Different
job
ball
not that
game.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard it thousands of times. Hey, the job don't get that important anymore
Yeah.
because now you want to be there with that child. You want to be the one that feeds them the bottle, or you want to breastfeed them. You want to be the one that wake up with them. You want to be the one that are in the middle of the day making their sandwiches, being there with them to be able to walk. You want to be the one that spend the majority of the time with them. And when you have options, guess what? You can do those things.
Very true. Very true. Well, that's all
Yeah.
I have to say. Anything you got left, Tim?
No, that's it. I think this was a good one. We wrapped it up real nice and tight. So I hopefully you guys and you ladies out there, you learned something. And you too, man. I hopefully you learned something as well. And you can apply it to say, hey, when I get ready to date a woman, I'm gonna be ready to show her the world.
All right, guys. We'll catch you on the next episode.